Close your eyes for a second. You're not at a dinner table with your awkward family. You're accepting an award in front of thousands of people. You're not stuck in traffic. You're the main character of a story so vivid, so real, that when someone honks their horn and snaps you back, you feel genuinely robbed. You didn't choose to go there. Your mind just took you. And the strangest part? It felt more alive than the actual moment you were sitting in. If that hits close to home, this video was made specifically for you. Here's what most people assume when they catch themselves doing this. I'm just being weird. I need to focus more. Something must be off with me. But what if I told you? The people who do this most intensely are often the most emotionally intelligent people in the room. What if this habit your brain has developed isn't a flaw, but actually a window into something much deeper about who you are? Today, we're going to go beneath the surface. We're going to look at why your mind builds these fictional worlds, what they're secretly trying to tell you, and exactly how to find your way back to the life that's actually waiting for you. Stay with me. This one's going to go deep. Let's start by throwing out the word escape. Because that word carries shame in it. It makes it sound like you're running away. Like you're weak. Like you can't handle reality. That's not what's happening. What your brain is actually doing is constructing. Every time you close your eyes and step into a fictional scenario, your mind is doing something architects and engineers do every single day. It's running a blueprint. It's stress testing a structure before it's ever built. Think about that. A civil engineer doesn't build a bridge and then wonder if it'll hold. They simulate it. They run the numbers. They imagine the weight, the wind, the worst case. Your brain does the exact same thing with your life. You imagine the conversation with your father that never quite goes right. You rehearse telling your boss you deserve more. You picture yourself walking into a room differently. Head high, voice steady. No apology in your posture. That's not weakness. That's your nervous system doing its job. The problem is, nobody ever told you that. So instead of understanding it, you've been judging yourself for it. Now let's talk about what's actually firing inside your brain when this happens. There's a network of brain regions called the default mode network. Scientists sometimes call it the brain's idle engine. When you're focused, answering emails, cooking dinner, driving, this network steps back. It lets your task-focused brain take the wheel. But the moment you drift, the moment you stare out a rainy window, or lie in bed waiting for sleep that won't come, the default mode network wakes up. And for some people, it doesn't just wake up. It roars. These are usually people who feel deeply. People who notice things others walk right past. People who carry questions inside them that the world never fully answers. Sound familiar? When this network activates, it doesn't sit still. It immediately starts pulling threads. A look someone gave you last Tuesday. A version of yourself you once dreamed of becoming. A conversation you wish had gone differently. And it weaves them together into something your brain calls a simulation. Psychologists call this mental time travel. Your mind isn't broken when it does this. It's doing exactly what it evolved to do. Pulling from the past, projecting into the future, trying to give you a sharper edge for what comes next. But here's where it gets really interesting. If you pay close attention, not just to what you imagine, but to how it makes you feel, you'll start to notice a pattern. Every fictional scenario your mind creates is quietly pointing at something real. Something you want. Something you need. Something that hasn't been given to you yet. The person who imagines standing up to someone, who always talks over them, isn't fantasizing about conflict. They're starving for dignity. The person who imagines a version of themselves that's calm, magnetic, unshakable, isn't being delusional. They're reaching for confidence they haven't yet learned to hold in real life. The person who creates elaborate romantic stories in their head, with someone they've barely spoken to, isn't being obsessive. They're longing for real connection, in a world that increasingly feels surface level. Your fictional scenarios are not random noise. They are the most honest map of your unmet needs. The question is, are you reading the map? Or are you just enjoying the view? This is where we have to be honest with each other. Because everything we've talked about so far, the brain's architecture, the emotional intelligence, the rehearsal function, all of it is real. All of it is valid. But there is a line. And a lot of people quietly cross it, without ever realizing. Here's how you know you've crossed it. You imagine telling someone the truth. And then you never do. Because in your mind, it already happened. The relief is already there. The courage already spent. You picture yourself starting the project, the business, the creative work, in such vivid detail, that when you sit down to actually do it, it feels anticlimactic, heavy, almost pointless, because your imagination already gave you the feeling of success, without requiring any of the work. Psychologists call this mental substitution, and it's one of the quietest ways people lose years of their life. Not to laziness, not to fear, but to a mind that is so good at creating reward, that real life simply can't compete. Think about that. Your brain, the most sophisticated organ in the known universe, can become so skilled at simulating satisfaction, that it accidentally teaches you to stop seeking the real thing. That's not a character flaw. That's a biological trap. And understanding it is the first step out. So how do you work with this part of your brain? Instead of being quietly controlled by it, here are 4 shifts that actually work. Shift 1. Name what the scenario is really about. The next time you catch yourself deep in a fictional moment, don't just snap out of it. Pause. And ask one question. What does this scenario want me to feel? Not what's happening in it. What feeling is it chasing? Victory? Safety? Love? Recognition? Because that feeling, that's the real signal. That's your mind handing you a note that says, hey, this is something we actually need. And once you've named it, you can start looking for real-world ways to meet that need, instead of borrowing the feeling on credit from your imagination. Shift 2. Use it as a launching pad, not a landing pad. There's a version of imagination that serves you, and there's a version that replaces you. The difference is motion. If you imagine a difficult conversation with someone important in your life, set a deadline. I'm going to imagine this scenario today, and by Thursday, I'm having the real one. If you picture yourself healthier, stronger, more disciplined, take one physical action within the next hour that points in that direction. Just one. Because the moment you move, even slightly, your brain gets a new signal. It stops treating the simulation as the destination. It starts treating it as the runway. Shift 3. Give your imagination a room, not the whole house. You don't have to evict your imagination. You just have to stop letting it redecorate every room. Set a container. Maybe it's 15 minutes in the morning, or the last 10 minutes before sleep. During that window, go fully in. Let your mind build whatever it wants. Be the version of yourself you're still becoming. Feel it completely. Then, when the time is up, close the door. Step back into your actual life. What you're training, over time, is the ability to choose when you enter the theater, instead of being dragged in without permission. Shift 4. Return to the only thing that's real right now. There will be moments, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, when the fictional world pulls harder than usual, when the story in your head feels more bearable than the one happening outside it. In those moments, don't fight it with willpower. Willpower against imagination is a battle you'll lose every time. Instead, come back through your body. Feel the weight of your feet on the ground. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Pick one object in front of you, and really look at it. Not as a distraction, as an anchor. Because your mind can travel anywhere, but your body only ever exists right here, right now. And right now is the only place your real life can happen. Here's what I want you to take from this. The fact that your mind builds these elaborate fictional worlds. It doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're searching. Searching for a version of yourself that feels more free. For conversations that carry real weight. For a life that feels as meaningful on the outside as the one you've already imagined on the inside. And here's the quiet truth that most people never quite reach. That life is not somewhere else. It's not in a better scenario. It's not in a perfectly rehearsed speech. It's in the awkward, unpredictable, imperfect moments you've been stepping over. On your way to the theater inside your head. The fictional version of your life will always be cleaner, smoother, safer, but it will never, ever feel as real as a single honest moment, with your feet on the ground and your heart actually in the room. You've been the director long enough. It's time to step in front of the camera. If something in this video stopped you, drop it in the comments. What's the fictional scenario your mind visits most? You might be surprised. How many people are running the same film? If this hit differently than you expected, subscribe. Because we go this deep every single week. And if you want to keep pulling on this thread, the next video is going to challenge something you've believed about yourself for a very long time. I'll see you there.